I went back in time, tried to bring dragons through a portal to conquer the world and become king, all because my kitty died. Future Rogue 2014. So we finally reached the end of the Dragon Festival arc. Natsu versus Future Rogue came to a close. All the dragons, all the fighting, all the carnage and chaos has finally ceased. First of all, I found it interesting that the 12 Zodiacs couldn't take down that gate, but Natsu smashing a dragon into it could. I guess that just goes to show the level of ferocity that the dragons have, that smashing one of them into the gate was enough to kind of fuck it over and shit like that. Because it wasn't really Natsu's strength. It was actually the dragons, you know, the impact of the dragon flying into that bitch. So definitely shows, again, how strong the dragons are. And I feel this episode definitely grounded at the end of the day Fairy Tail and kind of some of the complaints that people have about it. Because while Fairy Tail, you know, a lot of people win, you know, etc., you know, the problems and whatnot, it also showed that not one single person was able to slay a dragon. When Mavis said that, I was thinking to myself, you know what, she's right. They went in, they tried their damnedest, everybody was going full balls to the wall, but nobody could truly slay a dragon. And that just goes to show that even though, yeah, sometimes they come out on top with, you know, bullshit wins or whatever you want to say, they still have a long ways to go if they ever hope to, you know, be able to be on the level of a dragon, to slay one for that matter. So I'm glad that it kind of grounded Fairy Tail in a way and kind of showed them that, yeah, you think you're some hot shit, but at the end of the day, you go up against a dragon, you're going to get fucked over. And I'm glad that kind of everyone pitched in one way or another to stop this threat. We really had everyone involved, not just like, you know, a set of a few people, because even in the end, Lucy and Yukino were able to help out using their powers together. So everyone pitched in. It wasn't just like a one-man effort, and I'm definitely glad that they made even the smallest characters like Yukino more relevant even in the end. Now, when everyone started disappearing and everything, I was thinking to myself, all right, we're finally going to get the big reveal. And I've known this for a while, obviously, reading the manga. But basically, when Future Rogue lays it simple that Frost died and he'll die a year from our timeline, and that's kind of what made him go bad. And it just made me think to myself, wow, you know, the arc was pretty badass with a lot of action with the dragons. In particular, I feel the anime made the dragons look more ferocious and kind of did a better job overall handling this arc. At the end of the day, Future Rogue's motives was just kind of mad. Like, you did it over your cat. I understand to a certain degree these exceeds are a little bit more than just a cat. They actually talk, there's human interaction and whatnot. But to go back in time, try to slaughter the world and everything over a talking cat, it just, you know, it seems out of this fucking world that anyone would do that. So Future Rogue definitely a fucking nutcase, and it kind of leaves a little bit of setup as well for Natsu to look out for that. So if this cat does die a year from now, or is in a life or death situation a year from now, he might want to rethink letting that happen or really stay close by, because if that cat does die, maybe Rogue will ascend into that. And I hope this Rogue learns from this lesson, and even if Frost dies a year from now, which I doubt, but if he does die a year from now, I'm hoping this Rogue that learns from the mistakes of this guy and says, all right, you know what, he's dead, but that doesn't mean to conquer the world. And that kind of also shows the ferocity of the Acnologia. If you really think about it, most of this was because of the Acnologia. He was scared of the power of the Acnologia. It was like between his cat dying and the fact that they can't take down the Acnologia in his timeline, it just goes to show the Acnologia is truly one of the biggest threats that Fairy Tail is going to have to face amongst, you know, the final villains that they have, including Zeref. And overall, a solid ending. I feel the motives for Future Rogue was the weakest thing. It definitely felt very cheap, and overall it's like, you know, you did it over a cat. But aside from that, the end of the battle was pretty awesome. We got the final impact, sending everything back in time, and definitely a pretty sad scene at the end. I ain't gonna lie, I felt kind of bad, where you see them all in heaven, the future versions of themselves, Lucy, Natsu, and all them kind of going off in their own journey. And it's kind of like there was impact and there was death in a sense, major death, but it was really mostly that timeline that felt it. It's kind of like if you look at future Trunks' timeline or whatever, something like that, it's kind of like there was still impact. It was just in that timeline. And basically, in a nutshell, it kind of feels fucked up that, like, yeah, that timeline is still going to be ruled by dragons and devoured in a sense. But overall, good finale for the ending. Aside from Future Rogue's motives, I felt everything went pretty all right for the ending of this arc. Everyone had their moment to shine. Natsu finishing him off, and not like one of those fantastical ways. He actually had to have help from the Atlas Flame to crash him down, so it was a decent ending to the fight. Some of the scenes in the episode looked absolutely beautiful, so I was excited about that. And overall, again, it was a good finale for the most part for the end of this arc. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. What did you think about the finale? What did you think about Future Rogue's reasoning? Again, His reasoning was it was like, wow, over a cat. But nonetheless, all the actions that he's done, all the damage that he's, kind of brought to this world. I mean, at the end of the day, Ultira is still fucked up and everything, so we got to see what's happening with her. And it was a pretty damn good arc overall, especially in the anime. I felt the anime just did this content way more justice. And your overall thoughts of the episode, but that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, if you could do so as well, that would be awesome. I'm Finette World, and as always, people, have an awesome day. I went back in time, tried to bring dragons through a portal to conquer the world and become king, all because my kitty died. Future Rogue 2014. So we finally reached the end of the Dragon Festival arc. Natsu versus Future Rogue came to a close. All the dragons, all the fighting, all the carnage and chaos has finally ceased. First of all, I found it interesting that the 12 Zodiacs couldn't take down that gate, but Natsu smashing a dragon into it could. I guess that just goes to show the level of ferocity that the dragons have, that smashing one of them into the gate was enough to kind of fuck it over and shit like that. Because it wasn't really Natsu's strength. It was actually the dragons, the impact of the dragon flying into that bitch. So definitely shows, again, how strong the dragons are. And I feel this episode definitely grounded, at the end of the day, Fairy Tail and kind of some of the complaints that people have about it. Because while Fairy